Ever set a goal and wondered why it didn't stick? Today, we are diving into the science of goal setting, unpacking the types of goals, the theory behind them, and how to structure them for success. Welcome back to my channel, my friends. And if you're new here, hi, I'm Elisa, a cognitive science student doing her master's degree while working a part-time IT job. And in my free time, I explore how challenging yourself, guided by science, can improve your mental and physical well-being. I have recently achieved a big scary goal for myself, which is running my first ever marathon race. And now, a few weeks after that, I'm looking for a new goal or a new challenge that I can set myself up to. And instead of just searching a random new goal and picking the first best thing that I can find, I was curious what the scientific side of things had in store for me. And I had a little deep dive into the literature. Much inspiration was drawn from this book. Oh my God. We're kind of color matching, that wasn't intended, but is from this book, which is called The Psychology of Running by Noah Brigg and Stuart Holiday. And a lot of the concepts that I'm talking about are drawn from here. I love the book because it's a scientific book and like all the literature they used is listed so that you can have your own little deep dive if you like. So I went from their perspective and collected a few more details and also kind of wanted to give it an actionable or tangible note so that you can act upon that rather than it being just abstract theories. Therefore, in today's video, we talk about the different types of goals, goal setting, goal flexibility, and goal structuring by introducing sub-goals, milestones, and actionable steps while staying sustainable. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you do, please hit the like and subscribe button. I'm always very happy when someone joins the family. I'm a very small channel, so I notice each and every one of you, and I'm very grateful for that. And if you have any thoughts on the topic or any questions or anything that you would like to share, please leave a comment down below. It means the world. I always like to get other people's perspective and maybe even feedback if there is something in my videos that I could improve so that they are better for you, because essentially I'm doing them so that I can help other people in their life. And without further ado, let's get into the video. Firstly, I would like to talk about the different types of goals because I feel like understanding these is essential to achieve the goals that you have actually set for yourself and make progress without quitting. Maybe it even helps you to understand why in the past some of your goals didn't work out and you couldn't achieve them, so that you can kind of revise that and take that as your own feedback if you wish. There are three types of specific goals, which are outcome goals, performance goals, and process goals. Outcome goals, just as the name implies, relate to the end result, such as running a race or a competition. Examples of this type of goal are finish in the top 10 of your age group at a local fitness competition, achieve a podium finish in a high rocks race, win a local 10K or place in the top 3, or unrelated to training but rather to school and uni, coming top of your class. I think you kind of get what outcome goals are, right? Another type of specific goals are performance goals. These are about achieving a specific standard, like lifting a certain weight or finishing in a certain time. Performance goals allow you to measure your progress objectively. Examples of this type of goal are achieve a personal best in a half marathon, improve your high rocks doubles time by at least 5 minutes compared to last year, increase your deadlift max by 10% within the next 8 weeks, or in a school environment, maybe getting 90% correct in an important upcoming exam. As you can see, these focus on measurable performance that is unrelated to other people taking part in the same event or race. The last type of specific goals are process goals, which focus on implementing specific strategies and actions that you can actually take. They emphasize on the journey rather than the end result, allowing you to concentrate on what you can control. That could be committing to a workout routine or speaking to yourself in an encouraging way during a race when a hard time in that race comes around. It could be incorporating 1 day of explosive training per week to improve power and speed. It could also be practice pacing in a long run by maintaining the same speed for 30 minutes in a training run or something like that. This type of goal focuses on actions and habits that you build. Apart from the specific goals that we have talked about, there are also non-specific goals, which can be referred to as open goals. These aim at statements like, I want to see how well I can do. I'm gonna do my best. Examples here are, let's see how far I can run without stopping. Or test your maximum number of pull-ups that you can do in a row. Explore how fast you can complete a workout without setting a specific time goal or without wanting to beat a specific time that you have done in the past before that. And for school, to do as best as possible in the test. Now you might think, well, what type of goal should I pick for myself? And the answer is, it kind of depends, but research has some suggestions here. Studies indicate that focusing solely on outcome goals can lead to anxiety, especially in high pressure situations. So outcome goals across the literature seem to only work for a clear minority and can cause a lot of frustration in the process. This stems from the fact that in order to hit a certain outcome goal that you've set for yourself, a lot of external factors that you as a person cannot influence come to play, such as the weather conditions or how well other athletes have prepared in comparison to you, or maybe you getting sick and your competitors don't in the weeks leading up to the competition or race that you are training for, and a lot of other things. So outcome goals are very much not only related to you and your performance, but to all the other things that you cannot influence. And because of that, there is absolutely no certainty that you can hit the goal that you have set for yourself. So the risk of failing an outcome goal is much higher because of all the factors that you cannot control. Process and performance goals are better in that respect because they are measured by clear standards or measured only in comparison to your past self. However, they should be realistic to prevent disencouragement. Research suggests that moderate difficulty for performance goals increases motivation and persistence. Process goals are nice because they are unrelated to your race day performance. Research shows that process goals can enhance performance because they build consistent habits. Open goals seem to be the most flexible, but also not so tangible ones. Research has shown that these goals are very effective for beginners because they reduce the pressure and tension, they make you feel better in the process, and with that, they also make you enjoy the activity of choice more, which in hindsight will lead to sticking with it for longer. So which type of goal you should pick depends really on you, where you are in your journey, what type of pressure you like. There are people who thrive under pressure, then outcome goals or performance goals could be very nice for you. But there are people who get anxiety from putting pressure on themselves, then open goals or process goals are the perfect choice. So it really depends on you yourself and also on what you want to achieve. I personally always like to mix it up. So for whatever I'm doing for the very first time, I'm never putting any performance or outcome goals to it because I want to experience it and I want to feel the process of doing this for the first time. So there I'm always sticking to open goals or process goals, and performance goals or outcome goals come way later when I have experience in that activity already for a longer amount of time. In general, I just personally love process goals the most, I think, because they build these habits and they just help you in your everyday life and scheduling and kind of getting a routine for yourself. So I personally like process goals very much because you last very long with these, and I'm always an advocate for sustainability. Now that we know what type of goals there are, and depending on our journey and on our character, what type of goal we would like to go for, we need to still be able to pick the right goal within that broader type or category. And that is where goal setting theory comes to play. Locke and Latham's goal setting theory emphasizes the importance of setting challenging and specific goals. And that is because it helps us focus our intention on the task at hand, helps us increase effort and persistence, and leads to short and long-term performance gains. Now, the thing is, when I read that for the first time, I was like, what means challenging or what means difficult? Because sometimes they refer to it as challenging and sometimes as difficult. Because difficulty, that is not only my perception, but research also shows this, is subjective. My difficult might not be my best friend's difficult, might not be your difficult, and your difficult might not be your partner's difficult. So how can we pick a goal that is difficult? And the thing is that it matters how challenging you yourself perceive the goal to be. If a goal is too easy, it won't be motivating. If it's too hard, it can feel unattainable, leading to anxiety and giving up prematurely. So the sweet spot, as always, lies in moderate difficulty. Challenging, yet attainable, which fosters motivation and sustained effort. If you would like to set yourself an ambitious goal related to performance or a specific outcome because it's the right difficulty for you and you like the pressure, but you also know that they are very, very high risk external factors that come to play. We have talked about it, the weather conditions, or maybe other competitors and stuff like that. But you would still like to go for an outcome goal or a performance goal because you feel like the process or open goals are just not tangible enough for you and you know that you wouldn't stick to it. You can work with goal flexibility to reduce the anxiety around this outcome goal. Instead of being fixated on one specific outcome, plan for different scenarios. What I mean by that is to set a dream goal, a happy goal, and an acceptable goal. Your dream goal is your best case scenario. So on the day, everything clicks, everything goes to plan. You're feeling your absolute best, and all the external factors are beneficial for you and help you to achieve your goal. That would be the dream goal. A happy goal is an achievable goal with some setbacks. So basically a good performance under less ideal conditions. And the acceptable goal is a realistic baseline in a kind of worst case scenario. We are not talking about you passing out on the course or anything like that, which would be probably kind of a worst case scenario. But if all the external factors kind of go wrong, so bad weather, very, very great other athletes that are with you on the start line or anything like that. Maybe it's also you falling on the run course or something like that and then have to get up and obviously be slower than expected. These are kind of the worst case scenarios. So when all these things go wrong, what is the baseline that you can still hit without, having to drop out of a race or getting injured very badly during the race performance, because that is not acceptable and that is not a goal that you have. That would be an incident. But what is acceptable even if all the external factors are not really in your favor. And this layered approach can help you to stay motivated, have less pressure and anxiety, because when you arrive on that race day and you already see that the conditions are not ideal, you still know that you can hit goals in this layered approach that you have set for yourself, and by that reduce the frustration. Okay, right, now that we know about the types of goals, how hard they should be, what we can do to still achieve goals even though external factors are not in our favor and everything like that, there's one big remaining question. It's how? How do I go from this big goal but not knowing how to actually get there? And that's why I kind of combined the scientific approaches and used some templates of goal planning that are also used in companies and stuff like that to kind of make it a bit more easy to create a structure from just having that idea as the big goal and what you can actually do to get there. Basically, as with all things in life, going from 0 to 100% is never a good idea, and we need to find a sustainable way how we can approach our goals so that we actually stick with it. Therefore, I choose this primary goal for a certain area of my life, maybe my career or my training or whatever, and then structure down from there into sub goals and milestones. Sub goals are kind of smaller objectives compared to your main goal that make it a little bit easier and are kind of stepping stones that you can take along the way. These could be skill specific, like improving a certain skill that you have, such as running, or maybe even your running technique. Or they could be performance specific, such as running a 10K under 55 minutes or something like that. But, and this is what I like to do, it could also be signing up to a smaller event that supports the idea, or that is a mini version of what you want to do. So for example, if you want to do a marathon, you can sign up for a half marathon somewhere in the training to just get an idea of what you can do in longer races on a race day and what you need to get kind of a racing experience already to be prepared for that bigger event that you're working towards. Milestones are then kind of checking points or process markers. So they can also be performance-based, like hitting a personal best, or maybe it could be in a training session with intervals, hitting the fastest interval times that you have hit for this particular session. But it could also be non-performance markers, such as sticking to your routine for 4 weeks in a row, or not skipping a training session for 2 weeks in a row. And this could be your little milestone that you can then appreciate and celebrate along the way. It's important here that the milestones are not really as plannable as the sub goals. So a sub goal as an event or as a specific time that you want to hit, maybe on a specific day, is something that is kind of very tangible and that you can set to a date, while milestones, at least in my opinion, are a bit more, they come along with the process. And maybe you plan out that perfect training plan and you say, okay, obviously after the first 4 weeks of that training plan, I have hit the milestone of training the 4 weeks, all the sessions, but maybe life comes in the way and you're not training all the sessions. So I'm not fixating these milestones to a specific date. It's rather something that happens along the way, but needs to then be acknowledged and kind of celebrated to keep motivation high within the longer process of working towards that big goal. At least that's my logic. Because celebrating these smaller wins, achieving these sub goals or these milestones, make us motivated and make us feel the progress that we are actually making. A long, overwhelming journey becomes kind of tangible with little steps along the way and little periods of time that you can pack into a package and then celebrate that. And if you're interested in a bit more how you can feel the progress that you're actually making, I have made a video all about that, so feel free to check that out. And the final step for me personally to actually achieving your goal is when you have all that nice little roadmap that you have created for yourself with your goal, your sub goal, potential milestones on the way, and you have thought all about that, but still these are just random dates in a calendar. And then the last thing for me is to create actionable steps from these kind of mini events or even the big event that you can actually follow along the way to make these things happen. I view these actionable steps as specific actions or habits you can follow along in the process on a weekly, daily, monthly, whatever time you want to set for yourself basis. For process goals, these could be introduce 1 new training session per week if you feel comfortable. Obviously, if you're not feeling comfortable after 1 week with this new session, you're not adding in another one the week after. You kind of adapt and then you add in the next one, but you kind of get the idea, I hope. Or it could be add 10 minutes to your long run every other week. Or add a 5-minute core circuit at the end of your workout to improve your core strength and stability. For process goals, it could also be something like planning ahead your meals for the rest of the week so that you are all set to go for that, and maybe even meal prep them so that you don't have to worry and you can still hit all the sessions and maybe all the nutrition goals that you have for this stressful upcoming week. So these are things that you can introduce into your routine for the process goals. Actionable steps for performance goals include maybe something like a section of your target pace for the dedicated race into your training runs to see every few weeks how you are progressing and how the target pace actually feels like in the process. And then you can maybe, if you feel comfortable for the next progression run, then add in a sequence of your target pace that is even a bit longer. For performance goals, actionable steps could also be to track your data and see how you are improving. So to collect the data, to be able to objectively monitor how you are going along and whether your goal is realistic, your performance goal, or whether you maybe need to reassess it along the way. As you can see, actionable steps actually very much depend on the goal that you have, obviously. If picking the right sub goals or actionable steps feels a bit weird, you can follow a technique that is used in companies to actually pick goals, but I feel like for sub goals and actionable steps, it can also be used, which is the SMART framework. SMART stands for specific, so what exactly am I doing? Measurable, can I track my progress? Achievable, is this step realistic within my current lifestyle? Relevant, does it help my primary goal and align with my values? And time bound, when and how often will I do it? As much as you can use these steps to select an appropriate main goal, you can also, as I said, apply this to your sub goals and especially the actionable steps, because it makes no sense if the actionable steps, for example, do not align with your values. For example, if I want to run a sub 3-hour marathon, very unrealistic for me, I would need to basically scrap everything from my calendar and start acting as if I was a full-time athlete and just train for this marathon goal. Or maybe I don't even have to quit my job and I can just do that with all the free time that I have, but I know that I would need to neglect my friends and family and other things that I like in my life, like living life. And therefore, this would go against my values, because my values is to lead a happy and healthy life, and doing everything to just improving in the running would mean that I need to give up a lot that makes me happy in my everyday life. So basically, For these actionable steps, I feel like the SMART framework can actually work as well, especially guiding you through whether this is realistic and whether you can actually do that and whether it helps achieving the goal in a realistic and sustainable way. So what you can see with this example is that even though you might have picked a goal that you really like, I would like a sub 3-hour marathon. Of course I would like that. It is very important to be realistic about what you can achieve with the given prerequisites that you have and the environment that you are living in, your schedule. But it could also mean, and don't get me wrong, I could do the sub 3-hour marathon without neglecting my family, but it would take years. So it's all about being realistic with your goal. Finally, let's talk about the last thing of this video, and it's my favorite thing: sustainability. I'm putting it in all my videos because I feel like it's so important, and it's one of the main factors why people quit their journeys or quit anything they do. It's because they are not introducing the actionable steps in a sustainable way and go from 0 to 100% for 2 weeks, burn out, get really angry and frustrated with what they've done, and then quit. And this is not what we want, because we want to achieve the goals that we have so perfectly planned out, guided by science. It's always important to remember that consistency, it's the bad word, it's out there on the internet everywhere. Consistency beats intensity. So you rather do small little steps in a consistent way than being intense for now and then forget about it quickly afterwards. The things I remind myself about when I plan out my sub goals or the actionable steps and kind of try to find a routine that I want to follow or a plan or whatever I want to do for the specific goal, I remind myself of the following things. Start small. And by that I mean introduce things gradually so that your body, but especially also your mind, can adapt to what you are doing. So after some days or weeks of doing this small little change, it will feel normal. Then you can add in the next small little change until that feels normal and comfortable. And like that, you can progressively overload, or you can progressively add in things without burning out on the way. And in order to kind of get the idea for that, I also check in with myself. I kind of try to listen to what my body and my energy levels tell me about how this new approach is going, or the new thing that I have added in. I'm brutally honest to myself whether this is good for me and I kind of feel like I can keep this going, or if I maybe need to take a little bit more time and be realistic and give my body and mind the time that they need to actually be ready to go this one step further. And then the last thing, it's the third thing that I remind myself when I'm getting carried away by this new exciting thing that I want to do, is reassess or adjust when necessary. Is it manageable for me, or is it draining? Is this upcoming week with life responsibilities that I cannot shift to another point going to work with the new challenge that I have set myself up to? Is it just this 1 week, or will it continue for 4 weeks and I will be burned out probably by the end of it? So if I need to adjust on the way, I do that. I'd rather go even a little step back for a small amount of time to be fine and then progress on afterwards, instead of powering through and then being done after this hard period. And therefore, just do it in your own way. If you need longer and you progress slower as all the other people out there, it doesn't matter, because it's your goal and it's your journey. And if you feel like I could progress more, I'm not giving my best, you can step it up a bit as well. I'm always talking like, take your time. But if you feel like I'm a bit lazy here, I could step it up a bit. Just try it out. Gradually, slowly, with baby steps, but just try it out. Maybe you have some more in the tank. If you are not curious and try it out, you will never know. So try it out, but also be realistic and be grateful for what you can do and not frustrated about what you maybe cannot do as fast as you would like to. Appreciate what your body can do and don't hate yourself for not being there as quick as you would like to maybe. Life throws many responsibilities at us that we cannot change and that we are obliged to do. So your goals and your sub goals, your milestones, your actionable steps are yours only. And this is where you can put the power of deciding and managing the whole thing. So I hope that the breakdown from a big abstract goal for yourself into sub goals, milestones, actionable steps helps you to plan out your new goal, or maybe reassess a journey that you are on right now, or maybe pick a journey that you've been on back up and this time around plan differently so that you can actually enjoy it. By combining the science-backed goal setting and the actionable planning strategies, you're not only able to pick a goal that suits you, but also to build habits that last. I hope you enjoyed this video and you are now able to plan and follow along with the goals and hopefully stick to them this time around. And with that being said, I'd say stay curious, look after yourself, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.